All right, here we go. We're live. We're ready to go. We are doing since we've missed Saturday and Sunday, we are doing a little stream today to try to get caught up and not take forever on this. So we, as a recap, last time finished Maria's story. Maria's story is completely over with. End not to be continued. And Minorikawa is to be continued. Kano is kept out. Achi is kept out. And then we have Osawa. So I think we should start with Osawa to save Maria. The rain won't let up. The sound is growing louder and louder inside my head. It is the sound of regret, spattering against my heart. My emotions surge like a terrible storm within me. I never wished for this. I never asked for this. Never expected my heart to be dragged so far beyond my control. We can't save Maria. We can't save Maria. We can't save Maria. The words stormed through Osawa's mind in a relentless cacophony. He'd called up images of the bodies from the human testing trials on his computer monitor. He couldn't help but imagine his daughter in the same gruesome state. In just a few more hours, Maria would begin hemorrhaging blood and die, just like the people in those pictures had. We can't save Maria. We can't save Maria. We can't save Maria. He couldn't shake the words or the reality from his mind. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Osawa began pounding his fists fiercely on the desktop. Sir, what are you doing? Kajiwara tried to intervene, but he kept on pounding away. When he finally ceased, the pain of the repeated impacts lingered in his hands. My research was never about any sincere desire to help people, and now I'm paying the price for that. The one time it finally matters. I can't even save my own daughter. Mr. Osawa, Kajiwara set a hand on his shoulder. You can always blame yourself later, but for now, think again. Good and hard. Is there really no other way to save Maria? Nothing else we could try? Osawa shook his head. The only means we had left was using Tanaka's password to unlock the doors. And now Tanaka is dead. There's no other way. Is there a possibility that Mr. Tanaka told someone else his password? This was something Osawa hadn't considered. Was there anyone Tanaka might have shared his password with? Only one person came to mind. Oh, yes. There may be someone. You're referring to I, sir? Kajiwara cast his eyes down. You figured that out then? Yes. Back during the commotion over that listening device. A necktie clip isn't typically the sort of present one gives to one's husband's coworker. And yet, although some might consider it somewhat inappropriate, Mr. Tanaka was wearing it as if it were a matter of course, which implies something about their relationship. Kajiwara's voice trailed off. He coughed apologetically and tried again. I realize it's an awkward situation, sir, but please, check with your wife. Even if I does happen to know the password, that does us no good if Maria gets quarantined someplace we can't reach her. I understand, Mr. Osawa. I'll bring Maria to you, then. I'll do everything in my power to make that happen. The detective then produced a bunch of bananas from his pocket. These are all left over. You're more than welcome to them, sir. Despite his gentle smile, The rest of his face was firm with resolve. When is that funny person stuck in the cat suit going to show up, along with the dancing guy wanting to sell a scam diet drink? Oh, man, I long for the halcyon days of this being about a scam diet drink. You said you didn't care whether other people understood you. Didn't you, Mr. Osawa? Osawa nodded guardedly. At the risk of being presumptuous, sir. I understand you, Kajiwara said. I used to be quite the workaholic myself. You're just like me. Innocent and awkward. We're just normal men. We're just innocent men. No, you're just like me. On another occasion, Kajiwara was shocked to run into a man who looked just like him. The fellow was a stylist at a hair salon Kajiwara visits on occasion. He let out a gasp of surprise of his own upon seeing the detective. Kajiwara felt a peculiar connection and was expecting to go to the salon regularly. But when the stylist asked what he did for a living, and Kajiwara answered honestly that he was a detective, the other man's face went pale, and he bolted out of the building. Kajiwara never saw that man again after that. Is this a reference to something? Because that just totally went over my head. It feels like a reference to something. Calling yourself innocent, huh? How modest of you. Osawa let out a sardonic chuckle, and after a moment, Kajiwara joined in. The next time I see you, Mr. Osawa, I'll have Maria with me. The detective gave a slight bow, then left the study, a look of determination on his face. Osawa watched him go with admiration. No matter what trouble arose, the man always looked for something he could do. He really was a fellow who knew how to hang tough. Compared to that, I'm just... Osawa couldn't even articulate his own self-disgust. And asking Ai about the password would also mean inquiring into her relationship with Tanaka. The prospect was daunting. Venturing into the emotional territory of another person was his weakest suit. Like a cat suit that you wear comedically because you can't get out of it. He left his study, but somehow found himself making his way to Maria's room, not Ai's. He realized that he hadn't been into his daughter's room since a certain rainy day years before. Now he stepped quietly inside and saw Maria's world laid out before him. A small photo was set atop her neat and tidy desk. It was a close-up of someone's hands doing a cat's cradle. Whose hands were they? From the skin tone, they didn't appear to be Maria's. Several more photographs were pinned to a corkboard that hung on the wall. There were snapshots of people and townscapes from the Middle East. One glance at them, and Osawa felt like he was back there for a moment. The images weren't necessarily aesthetically pleasing, but they all looked like they'd been taken by a professional. When he spotted the last photo on the corkboard, however, he was certain that Maria had taken them all. It's him! The last picture was of Osawa himself. He was facing the camera, holding some luggage and flashing an awkward smile. It was a comical, affectionate image. He'd never known that photography was one of his daughter's hobbies. No, this went beyond a mere hobby. Did she perhaps aspire to be a professional photographer one day? She certainly had the aptitude for it, from the look of things. Maria, a photographer. As he mulled the idea over, Osawa felt his chest tighten. Right now, it looked like Maria's hopes and dreams were about to be snuffed out. Her future consisted of bleeding to death a few short hours from now. Osawa stared vacantly out the window. The view from Maria's room remained unchanged from so long ago. Again, that rainy day crept back into his mind, as vivid as the present. On that day, Osawa was dealing with some pressing business from work. He'd ensconced himself in his study, wrestling with some paperwork, when Hitomi barged in, looking distraught. "Maria's gone!" Sensing that Hitomi was legitimately alarmed, Osawa hurried to Maria's room. He found a letter she'd left atop her writing desk. "Dad, you only care about Hitomi. You're always working and never do anything with me. So I'm running away." A few hours earlier, he'd canceled their weekend trip to the park. He just wasn't going to be able to get his work done in time. Hitomi had resigned herself readily enough, but Maria just couldn't accept it. She'd been looking forward to it for so long. She railed at him. How many times now had he broken one of his promises to her? "Hitomi understands why we can't go, so why can't you do the same?" The cold rebuke had ended her complaining, but it was clear she still didn't accept the situation. Now Hitomi helped him look around, but they found nothing missing from Maria's room. Despite her assertion that she was running away, then, it seemed like there was no point in being overly concerned. "Maybe she's at the park she always goes to." Hitomi looked worried. The park was roughly a 25-minute walk from the house. It would only take about an hour for Osawa to go get her and bring her home. But an hour was more than he could afford to spare right now. "Dad, I think she's waiting for you to go after her." Osawa didn't need Hitomi to tell him that. He knew it well enough. That was what galled him so much about the situation. Why did she have to pull something like this precisely when his work was at its busiest? He'd done everything he could as a father since his wife had passed away. Why couldn't his daughter see that? "It's all right. Your sister will come back." The rain was coming down pretty hard outside the window. Do you think she brought an umbrella?" Hitomi asked anxiously. "I don't know. But with the rain like this, she'll come back home soon enough." He spoke the words for himself as much as for Hitomi. Then he headed back to his study and got back to work. But several hours went by, and still Maria did not return. The rain had gotten even more intense, to the point where Osawa could hear it in his study. He was so concerned about his missing girl that he couldn't focus on the work. But he stubbornly refused to give in and go search for her. Several more hours passed. At last, Maria appeared at the front door, soaking wet. Osawa met her silently in the entryway. Wet strands of hair clung to the girl's forehead as she looked up at her father with a bitter glare. "You don't care what happens to me, do you?" Immediately, Osawa smacked her across the cheek with the flat of his hand. It was the first time in his life he'd ever struck anyone. He hadn't known such a violent impulse could exist inside him. Maria stood there, her hand pressed to her cheek. Tears welled up in her eyes. She began to tremble. On her lip was a small bead of blood. A flood of guilt and regret rose up inside Osawa, as if he'd just shattered some intricate piece of glasswork. Oh, how could I do such a thing? He clenched his shameful hand into a fist. And in that moment, he was afraid of Maria. Afraid that his daughter could bring such raw emotion out of him and make him do something so thoughtless. But even more, he was afraid of how stunned he was as a human being. Was someone like him really fit to be a parent? What kind of future could Maria and Hitomi hope for with a father like him? That was why he'd married Ai, as Makino had proposed. Having a mother he'd decided would help keep his family together despite their sad excuse for a father. But in so doing, Osawa had dug a psychological ditch between himself and his daughters. A deep ditch, so that he could keep his daughters from being hurt. So that he wouldn't hurt himself. Now Osawa was staring across that ditch, wondering if it was too wide to leap. He thought back to his earlier exchange with Kajiwara. If you get angry, you show it. If you get sad, you show it. It's human nature to let other people know how we're feeling, after all. But what if doing that hurts the other person? That's when you apologize, sir. Yes, that was right. He needed to apologize to Maria for what he'd done that day. It still wasn't too late. It's never too late. When it comes to family, there's no such thing as game over. He recalled Pretty Honey's words. He needed to apologize to Maria, and so he needed to ask Ai for that password. Osawa was going to have to face his wife. Keep out. Oh my gosh. Oh man, this game is a lot of fun, isn't it? This game's really funny. Anyway. Yeah. Let's see if we can break one of these keep-outs. Can Kano break a young man? Let's see. I think we can do that. Right, because we're going to Achi confronting his dad. Right. This was good advice. If they provoke the older man, things could take a sharp turn. The young man could talk him down. All right, here we go. Wait, we can't? No? What? All right. So there's nothing for Maria. We already did. He's kept out. What about this? Kenji Osawa. Okay, we can break that from here. Called up Kenji Osawa to let him know the results of the investigation. All right, here we go. There we go, that breaks it. Oh, is he gonna get the call now? Yep. Osawa's phone rang and Minorikawa's phone number popped up on the LCD display. You could just say LCD. The reporter must have finished looking into the matter Osawa had asked about. Mr. Osawa? Sorry to keep you waiting. How did it go? Well, I looked into the background of that story you asked about, and I learned who it was your wife was dating. Who was it? Osawa asked immediately. There was a brief pause. Mamoru Tanaka. I see. Finally, he had proof positive of a relationship between Ai and Tanaka. Now, more than ever, it was no time to waver. No matter how painful the reality was, it was also true that if they hadn't been dating, there would probably be no way of saving Maria. So, Minorikawa said, what was this big thing about disrupting the power balance of the world all about? There's something I need to take care of on my end first. Once I'm finished, I'll tell you everything. Yeah, that's fine. Things are pretty hectic on my end right now anyway. Osawa had expected Minorikawa to put up more of a fight. He'd figured a reporter for 4-star general gossip would be a bit more persistent. Oh, by the way, there was one other thing I wanted to tell you, Mr. Osawa. Osawa could practically sense the finger pointing his way from the other end of the line. Oh, great. Don't be too angry with your wife. All too often in this world, people let their anger get in the way of solving their problems. You may have a point. Osawa let out a wry chuckle. All right. I'll call you back later. Osawa found Ai standing by herself in the yard. She kept her back to him as he approached. May I have a moment? He asked quietly. What? Still, she didn't bother to turn around. There's something important I need to talk to you about. I'm not in the mood right now. Please, I realize you're upset about Tanaka's death, but at the mention of Tanaka's name, Ai slowly shook her head. Don't. Just tell me what you want. Hurry up and get to the point. Osawa tried to move closer to her, but she pointedly kept her distance. There was something Osawa needed to hear for himself. No time. No, connect. Connect with people. B. There was something Osawa needed to hear for himself before this went any further. Were you in love with Tanaka? What are you talking about? Osawa frowned. Why did you marry me? He asked. You've got to be kidding. This is the important discussion you wanted to have. Did you ever love me? I let out a joyless chuckle. Love? I'm amazed to hear the word leave your lips. There was a note of challenge in her voice. Let me ask you the same question. Did you ever love me? To be honest, I married you because I thought my daughters needed a mother. Wow. I let out a weary sigh. Some of the combative tension left her shoulders. That really is honest, she said. So I guess I should be honest too. I married you because my father asked me to. He wanted to chain you down so you didn't leave for some other company. And you were okay with marrying someone for something like that? For something like that? You really have no idea how much you're worth, do you? The value of one woman's life versus the potential profits your research would bring in? There's no comparing the two. If it meant that Akoshi Pharmaceutical could not monopolize your talents, then what did it even matter what I wanted for myself? There was something akin to desperation in Ai's words. And so you sent me those threatening emails too? What? I looked at him in shock. He knew he'd guessed correctly. You would go that far? Just to keep me tied to your father's business? That's right. I would. I bit down on her lip hard. But what would you even know about how I feel? I'm sorry. Don't apologize. I shook her head vehemently. I'm not the victim here. You say that, but isn't it because of me that you and Tanaka weren't able to stay together? I began to tremble. Her secret was out. Did you figure it out? She asked. Earlier today. That tie clip. Right. Not the sort of gift one gives to one's husband's coworker, is it? Even if it was a listening device. Ai's smile was bitter with self-deprecation. Osawa couldn't help but pity her. Even Tanaka must have suspected that she placed the company's profit above all else if she'd go to such lengths to protect its interests. It was like she'd given up her entire life just for that. Well, she said, aren't you angry? Osawa just shook his head. Could you tell me just one thing, though? He asked. Did Tanaka ever tell you what his lab password was? His password? I needed to get the antiviral out of the lab. I flinched at the suggestion. To get it out? What are you thinking? That belongs to the company. I just need one dose to save Maria. Please. If you know, please tell me. I don't know it. Ai's voice was barely a whisper. Osawa looked his wife right in the eye. You're telling the truth. I am. I see. Then, do you have an idea what number he might have used for a password? I shook her head silently and turned her back to her husband once more. Tanaka hadn't given Ai his password. Osawa's last chance had gone up in smoke. He let out a long, shaky breath and shut his eyes tight. Was it true? Was there nothing more he could do? Keep out again? Oh! Oh! My gosh. Okay, well, what do now? Is there any other jumps that we missed? I am confused here because, like, Achi's kept out, Kano's kept out, Minorikawa's to be continued, Maria is ended, Osawa's kept out. Well, what do we do? Because there's no other jumps. This is strange. Because this one doesn't, yeah, right? This one doesn't jump. So I gotta figure this out. Because he said, yeah, this was good advice that provoked. They just have to hope the young man could talk him down. So this does not actually allow us to go to 1735. Because that's 1730. So is there like a choice that we did wrong? Maybe? What about over here? Stanley's phone call. Let's see. Curious Achi turned to the American. Who were you just talking to? By bringing Tomi in, do you mean you're gonna arrest her? Let's ask that. By bringing Tomi in, do you mean you're gonna arrest her? Achi couldn't think of any other reason to take her to the precinct. I'm just going to move her someplace safe. With that, Stanley proceeded to wrap up his phone call. Guess I'm not gonna get much out of this guy, Achi thought. Did that change? Oh, it did change something. Move her someplace safe, huh? Was he actually serious or just being evasive? Achi couldn't really tell. If they did try to arrest Tomi, though, Achi intended to stop them, one way or another. He needed to protect her all the way to the end. Inwardly, he reaffirmed the vow he'd made earlier to keep her safe, whatever it took. Right now they could see... Okay, so this is leading just to the keep out from before. Got it. Let's see. So this jump is to Osawa. Now, does this... I wonder... This doesn't, like, further break into the keep out, right? Because that's 1735, and that would just break into that scene. Yeah, that's not the right scene. Okay, so I am very confused about what we're supposed to do here. I just had this feeling that there was a choice made somewhere that needed to be changed, maybe? Let's see. Then going up and down Dogonzaka. Right, the last time he and Tomi would make their way up the hill together. What about Achi picked up speed and as he marched onward? Let's see. As he marched onward, wanting to confront his father as soon as possible. His father was wrong. Even if he was acting to save Suzune, he was absolutely wrong. A crime was a crime, regardless of the motive. Let's see. This was a crime his father needed to atone for. And if he resisted, Achi would take him down, even if it had to use his fists. Even if I have to use my fists. Is this still going to trigger the cutscene? Yeah, okay. His flashback. Yeah, okay. So I don't think that changes anything. No, that changes nothing. Got it. Alright. So, Kano... Does Kano have any other jumps that we haven't seen? Ah, what about this one? No, that's a Maria jump. So that's Daisuke's proposal. Hitomi's location. Alfard's intentions. Reasoning. Searching for Maria, where the GPS leads. What about this one? Make sure this is the right area. No, it's not that. Let's see. No, it's not that. Kano scanned the area. It's just that Endo Electronics is right up ahead. What? Kanan stopped abruptly. What are you suggesting? The twins are heading for the same location. That's my guess. Still, what did that actually mean? Alright, that still didn't change anything. Okay. Kano hadn't figured that out yet. They took off running again, and before long, Endo Electronics came into view. Kanan stopped in front of the shop door. Alright, right here, she said, glancing at her GPS. I knew it, Connell thought. Endo Electronics, the same place he told me was headed. Guess we're all winding up together, Kanan said, or else we've been brought together. She peered keenly at the building and its surroundings. Connell swallowed hard. We? You think you've been roped into this too? I see Alfard roped you into this too. Quite possibly. Kanan flashed a winning smile, then started to head into the shop. Hold on, I need to report into HQ. Kind of hurriedly called Kuze on his cell. But does this change anything? It doesn't seem like it does. Yeah, young man still kept out. Achi's kept out. And I mean, does changing this, saying, did Tanaka give you his password? Oh, it does change. This was no time to mince words. Did Tanaka give you his password? His password? For the electronic lock on the lab. I need it in order to get the antiviral out. I turned to face him at last. To get it out? What are you thinking? That belongs to the company. I just need one dose to save Maria. Please, if you know, please tell me. I don't know it. Ai's voice was barely a whisper. Okay. Osawa looked his wife right in the eye. You're telling the truth. I am. I see. Then, do you have an idea what number he might have used for a password? Does this... No, okay. I shook her head silently, then turned her back to her husband once more. Even if I did know, she said, I wouldn't tell you. Why not? Don't you get it? Ai's words came out as a strangled rasp. Do you even know why I'm with you? She snapped. You really have no idea how much... Okay, this is the same kind of conversation as before. What did it matter? Yeah, this is the same kind of conversation. Yeah, this is the exact same conversation at this point. Okay. Yeah. Even know about... Is this going to lead to... No, okay. Still not yet leading to a keep out, but let's see. Let's see. Tie clip. Like she'd given up her entire life just for that, yeah. Please don't mess my life up any more than you already have. Ai's words were only a faint murmur, but Osawa felt the rejection they carried with agonizing clarity. Tanaka hadn't given Ai his password. Yeah, last chance, shut his eyes tight. Was it true? Was there nothing more he could do? Is this gonna just be a keep out again, or no? Oh, it is still. Okay, so no matter what, that's a keep out. I think, thematically speaking, I want to go back and make the previous choice. Because his whole arc is about learning to connect with people. So, I do want to keep that arc consistent. So him actually learning to say something and actually, like, is important for his character. But I'm just so confused about this young man jump. So my life has been nothing but misery, and there's a deadly virus in the loop, and your kids are infected with this. Yes, but at least we made the line go up. That is what's important. Yeah. My goodness. Alright, I might have to just give up and consult a walkthrough here, because, like, I do not know what I'm supposed to do. So the 1700 to 1800, alright. Is that what we're in? Yeah, 1700 to 1800. Alright. Achi. Just now. Well, if I just give us... Okay. Keep out. I'm trying to see what I'm supposed to do. Minorikawa. common name. All right. Minorikawa. 7. Oh, a common name? Let's see. Endo. Oh, you have to say Endo? Endo! Toyama furrowed his brow and muttered under his breath. That's how you do the jump? That's how you do the jump? Oh my gosh. You were kidding me. The workroom door slowly eased open. Oh yeah, I would not have figured that out. Ever. Ever. Achi was too shocked for words. The girl who entered looked just like Hitomi. Maria! Hitomi! Achi blinked in bewilderment. It was almost as if Hitomi were standing in front of a mirror. The two girls looked so similar. Maria, thank goodness you're all right. I'm so sorry I had you worried. Maria was safe, Achi realized. At last, he had managed to fulfill his duty. How did you manage to get out of the storeroom? Daisuke had gone pale. Tell me, Maria said sharply. Who was it who came up with this kidnapping plan? Suddenly, Daisuke shoved Maria aside and lunged for Hitomi. Stanley moved to stop him before he could intervene. The older man had a hold on Hitomi, pressing something that looked like a flashlight up against her neck. Dad! Achi started toward him, but Stanley held up a hand. Don't move. That's a stun gun. A piece of self-defense equipment for repelling would-be attackers with an electrical shock. There are several types, including baton-type stun prods and guns that fire needles attached to flexible wires. The latter type especially is frequently referred to in the US as a taser or taser gun, due to the popular models produced by Taser International, now known as Axon. Stun guns are used not only by civilians, but also by law enforcement and military personnel for non-lethal applications. If he zaps her in the neck, it could kill her. You know your stuff, Daisuke said. You deal in American electronics? No, I do this for a living. Stanley drew his gun in an instant, taking aim at Daisuke's forehead. Stone cold. Stone cold. Look at that. Achi was too shocked. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on! Achi interposed himself between Stanley and his father. Dad, let Hitomi go. You need to stop this nonsense. Achi walked slowly toward his father, a pleading look in his eyes. Nonsense? Which of us is talking nonsense here? You don't know what's going on. If you knew everything, then you'd be helping me. What do you mean, everything? With this girl's heart, we can save Suzune. Dad, who was it exactly who told you that? Daisuke did not reply. I asked you a question. Who was it who put that crazy idea into your head? A foreign organ trafficker I met at the hospital, Daisuke muttered. In Japan, a medical professional known as a transplant coordinator handles the liaison between the donor and recipient parties, but there are many cases of illegal or borderline illegal activity carried out by third-party organ brokers. There are countries where organ transplants are openly performed for monetary gain and no shortage of specialists willing to do the job. These questionable markets include suppliers who source viable organs and tissue for transplant from cadavers. Stanley let out a snort. A likely story. It was Alfard. It's true. I was suspicious at first myself, Daisuke said stubbornly, but I couldn't just sit around and wait for Suzune to die. And after talking to him about her rare blood type and all the difficulties in performing a transplant, he promised he'd do everything in his power. Daisuke's hands were trembling. Tears welled up in his vacant and bloodshot eyes. Then a while later he got back in touch and told me he'd found a potential match. Someone with the same blood type as Suzune, and roughly the same age. But then he told me that the girl was still alive. And so what was the point? Her heart might be a match for Suzune's, but it didn't matter if we couldn't get our hands on it. And I said that, but then the man told me. He told you what? Achi bit his lip. He told me to abduct her and turn her over to him. After that, he'd find a way to make it all work. At last, Daisuke had confessed. Now Achi had to try to come to grips with the truth he had just heard. I had to do something, his father continued vehemently. I had to abduct this girl and see things through. I just couldn't take it. Katoni had already been taken from me. The thought of losing Suzune, too. I had to make sure I didn't fail. So it was this organ trafficker who came up with the kidnapping scheme then, Stanley said. He kept his gun aimed at his target. Daisuke nodded. Describe him for me. He was tall, had black hair, spoke fluent Japanese. Stanley raised an eyebrow at that. Achi wondered if he had some idea who it might be. And taking Maria Osawa hostage in order to lure out Hitomi, that was his idea as well? Yes, that's right. I allowed his computer to access my surveillance camera system as well. But then, this morning I got a call from the hospital saying Suzune's condition was critical. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to help my girl right away. And then... Daisuke cut himself off, reaffirming his grip on his stun gun. I was looking at the surveillance monitor and I saw a detective I happened to know. He was right next to this girl here. So I decided to ask him. I knew if I did, he wouldn't refuse. He could never refuse a request from me. Was the man with the cane? Achi asked. His voice was low and hoarse. Yes. I was giving him directions while I followed you on the monitors. Dad, you need to let go of Hitomi now. There's no point to this. Achi took another step closer to his father. There is a point! If I kill this girl here and now, your sister can get the surgery she needs. But even Achi knew that things couldn't possibly work out that way. His father had grown so desperate to help Suzune that he'd lost all sense of judgment. Why, Achi? Why won't you help me? Don't you want to save Suzune? Daisuke made a pathetic sight, and yet his desperation to save his child was so palpable it was heartrending. Achi thought back to that time he'd laid his father out when sparring. No matter how pathetic he may have looked, Achi had always felt that sense of paternal love from him. You're not going to be able to talk him down, Stanley murmured. Achi shook his head. Stanley, he said, lower your gun. Tears were welling up in his eyes. Please, lower your gun. Hearing the determination in Achi's voice, Stanley quietly complied. Achi stepped up to Daisuke, getting a firm grip on his father's slender shoulder. Dad, of course I want to help Suzune. Then why are you trying to stop me? Dad, do you think this is what she'd want you to do? Daisuke's face fell. Did Suzune ask for this, Dad? Did she tell you to take someone else's heart so that she could live longer? Did she, Dad? Suddenly the fight seemed to ebb from Daisuke's body. The stun gun hung limply at his head. If Suzune asked me to go and get someone's heart for her, I wouldn't object. I'd help her, just like she wanted. I wouldn't let you bear those crumbs by yourself. But that's not what this is it? Suzune would never ask us to do something like this, would she? By now, tears were streaming down Achi's cheeks. He knew that his father thought about Suzune more than he thought of anyone else, and so he should know full well that she would never want this. Suzune's not like me. She's smart, she's kind. She'd never be happy about taking someone else's heart. Even if it saved her life, I'm sure she'd never accept that. She wouldn't be able to live with it, knowing something so horrible had happened to someone else for her sake. Isn't that the Suzune we know? Daisuke's cheeks were smeared with tears now as well. But then we're not going to be able to help her. The sound of father and son weeping echoed through the workroom. Maybe so. Maybe we won't. But that's better than the misery and suffering she'd have to live with. Daisuke slumped to his knees on the floor, collapsing like a crumbling mound of sand. Hitomi, freed from his grip, stood motionless. There were tears in her eyes, too. You're such an idiot, Dad. Such a complete utter idiot. Sobbing, Achi embraced his father. There was a sudden thud from near the door. Everyone turned to look. Maria had crumpled to the floor, and a newcomer had appeared. At some point, Kanan had silently entered the room. Now she cradled Maria in her arms. Standing in the doorway was a man Achi didn't recognize, his face pale. "Stay back!" Kanan shouted at Achi when he tried to approach. It looked like Maria had fallen unconscious. Achi's heart was racing in his chest. An eerie silence fell over the room. For several seconds, no one said a word, their eyes all fixed on Maria. Finally, Kanan looked up, her face ashen. It's starting. Is that where we're going to end the chapter? It's got to be. Oh, man. That's the roughest to be continued yet. Oh. All right. Unfamiliar man. A man Achi didn't recognize, who we're going to jump to now. Kano. After the young man's desperate pleading, the other fellow, apparently his father, finally gave in. He released his hold on Hitomi. The tension in the room was replaced by a solemn air of gravitas. Seeing father and son weeping as they spoke made Kano think back to his conversation with Tatano before the stakeout. What was it in people that drove them to do such horrible things? Sometimes it was the desire to save the ones they loved. Even such a heartfelt human emotion could drive someone to wrongdoing. Why? Why did people have to be like that? A sudden thud snapped Kano out of his musing. An instant later, Kanan hurried past him into the workroom. Maria had collapsed onto the floor, and now Kanan was beside her. In a panic, Kano rushed into the workroom as well. "Stay back!" Kanan shouted as the others tried to huddle around the fallen girl. "Please don't be what I think this is. Had the virus gone symptomatic?" 2 hours ago, Stanley had told Kano that Maria was infected. He'd also said that her symptoms wouldn't develop for another 4 hours. Shouldn't they still have 2 more hours to go? Maria looked like she was dead. Her eyes closed, her body motionless. Hitomi tried to approach despite Kanan's warning. "Maria!" she cried. "Maria, what's wrong?" Kano held his arms wide to hold her back. "Your sister has been infected with the Uwa virus." "The Uwa virus?" Hitomi's face went pale. "Hey," Kano said to Kanan, "should you really be that close? If she's developed symptoms..." But Kanan didn't move from Maria's side. She calmly rested her hand on the other girl's forehead. "There's no fever," she said. "And there's no blood coming from her eyes. No lymph swelling. I'll be all right. She hasn't gone symptomatic yet." "In that case, why did she collapse?" Hitomi asked. "I'm not sure yet. Whatever the case, if we don't get her that antiviral, she's done for." "Then we have to get her to the lab right away," Hitomi said. She was trembling with anxiety. "No, that's not an option." Kano's tone was grave. "You may already be aware, Miss Osawa, but without a password, we can't access the antiviral storage." "But when I went there, my father and Mr. Tanaka..." "Mamoru Tanaka is dead. Murdered." "What?" She stared at him uncomprehendingly. No, that can't be true. He was a member of a crime syndicate. It's possible they killed him in order to silence him." "So then, there's no way to save my sister?" There was a hollow look in Hitomi's eyes. "No, I won't accept that! Why? Why can't we help her?" But no one had an answer. Kano gritted his teeth and hung his head. Why did it have to come to this? He'd come this far, but there was nothing he could do, and he hated himself for it. I'll go to the laboratory. It was Kanan. Electronic lock breaking is my specialty. Wait! The young man, Achi, spoke up suddenly. So you're a martial arts badass, but your specialty is lock breaking? He looked positively dumbstruck. Kanan ignored him, thinking out loud. Brute force. A cryptanalysis technique that involves test input of all theoretically possible patterns. If time were unlimited, this would be the most reliable means of decipherment. However, in practice, the process takes massive amounts of time and computational power, and can be defeated by systems that prohibit access after a limited number of failed input attempts. Side channel. Rather than trying to decipher the password itself, this method involves analyzing information from the device, such as processing time, power consumption, and electromagnetic leaks, and using these details to exploit the system. Isolating the run state of devices is a crucial element of countering side-channel attacks. Shortcut. A cryptanalysis method that uses mathematical algorithms to carry out efficient bulk calculations against a block cipher that makes use of a shared key for encryption and decryption. Even when such calculations are theoretically possible, however, in practice the process requires large amounts of time, and the block cipher is seldom at real risk. Given the situation, I think I have to go with side channel. Side channel? Stanley asked. Where's your equipment? One of the lab PCs will suffice. I can connect to a special server from the net. I don't really understand the stuff you're talking about, Achi said, but I'll trust you to handle this. I mean, you did risk your life to save Hitomi from that minivan explosion and all. Kanan nodded. I have to warn you in advance, though. Cryptanalysis can take hours and still yield no results. I can't guarantee I'll be able to get the doors unlocked before Maria develops symptoms. I understand, Hitomi said. Achi nodded too. No one present had any objections. All of a sudden, there was a curious sound from somewhere in the room. What's that? Kano asked. What's making that noise? He looked around the workroom. That's my computer. Daisuke hurried to his desktop. What is it? The bank of monitors, which had been displaying surveillance camera footage from around Shibuya, had all gone black. That was a comically large amount of monitors in 2008. What the hell? What's going on, Dad? Achi joined his father, staring at the computer screens. It's all gone. The camera footage. It has been deleted. Daisuke blinked in disbelief. Now then, it seems our main cast has all been assembled. A man's voice, distorted by a voice modulator, suddenly emerged from the computer speakers. Oh no! A moment later, the monitors all began to display a view of the inside of the workroom. Dad, what the hell is this? Someone's broken through our firewall. A security system for preventing unauthorized intrusion into a computer network. The term stems from a metaphorical reapplication of the concept of a wall meant to inhibit the spread of fire or other destructive forces. They've hijacked the surveillance camera system. The color drained from Daisuke's face as he looked at the screens. Where are they filming us from? Kano asked, scanning the inside of the room. He used the image on the monitors to guess where the camera might be located. Over here? The lens of the camera set atop the computer monitor glimmered like an eye. It was a miniature camera used for web conferencing and the like. Now that Maria and Hitomi are both there, you've probably surmised the situation at hand. And so I offer a proposal. The laboratory password in exchange for Hitomi's blood. Realizing now that it was Alfard's voice they were hearing, everyone in the room froze. At 7 o'clock, roughly 1 hour from now, see that Hitomi Osawa is waiting at the Scramble intersection outside Shibuya Station, just like this morning. Unless, of course, you're feeling particularly confident. You do have Kanan with you. Perhaps you'd care to take a gamble on her lock-breaking skills instead. Kanan clucked her tongue in frustration. Alfard had known exactly what the plan was. Of course. If Kanan isn't able to get the door open in time, what will you do then? Maria is sure to die, yes, but that's not all. If you don't agree to my offer, I have the means of creating another Maria, and a third. These infectees will spread the virus through Tokyo. The death toll will likely number in the hundreds of thousands. It is difficult to predict the scope of infection in the event of a bioterrorist attack, employing a highly infectious viral agent in a city with a large and mobile population. In a worst-case scenario, some researchers estimate as many as several million infected in a matter of days. So do think carefully before you decide. Alfard's voice was chillingly matter-of-fact. I will appear at the rendezvous in person. After all, it wouldn't do for the star of the show to miss the final curtain. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you then. Silence fell. Then the images on the computer monitor returned to normal. The surveillance camera footage came back online as well. Daisuke promptly yanked out his Ethernet cable and slammed his fists on the keyboard. Damn it! There was a hole in the firewall. I'll have to redo my security from the ground up. Good call, Kanan said calmly. We can't win this if our intel keeps getting leaked. Stanley pursed his lips in consternation. What do we do? Kano asked him. Do we give in to his demands? I mean, do we really expect he's just going to blithely show up like that? He's practically begging for us to come and catch him. There had to be some deeper plan at work. If it means saving my sister, I'll do it. He told me he was resolute. No, Stanley said you can't. What? Why not? Because if you do, you'll be killed. What? He told me his voice caught in her throat. With the antiviral still present in your body a week after the fact, you're too much of a liability for Alfard to just let go. He's right, don't do it, Hachi exclaimed. He told me you can't go. Even still, I want to do it. He told me he stared defiantly at Stanley. You still want to go, even knowing that you'll be killed? I can't just sit here and hope that Kanan is able to pull this off, she said. I want to do something for my sister. I want to save her. She peered down at Maria, sprawled on the floor. She'd object to me going, I'm sure of that. But I want to do what I can, to do things my way. No one tried to contradict her this time. If she's willing to take the risk, then there are things the rest of you can do too. It was Kanan again. Let's hear it, Kana replied. He squared his shoulders. He was of the same mind as Atomi. He couldn't just do nothing and leave it all on Kanan. After everything he'd been through, he wanted to stick with this case until the very end. Apprehend Alfard at the rendezvous and demand the password from him. Kanan offered the suggestion as if it were a simple task that lets you get what you want without putting Atomi in danger. Kano let out a sigh. Hold on, he said. Even if we do arrest him, how are we going to get him to cough up the password? We don't have time to drag him off to an interrogation room. And besides, he doesn't strike me as the sort to offer a confession that easily. There are ways, Kanan said. Once Alfard has made contact with Itomi, call my cell phone. Itomi tilted her head. Call you? I have plenty of information Alfard might want to bargain for. I can negotiate with him directly. Kano considered Kanan's proposal. I see. So we'll try both options, attempt to hack the password at the lab, and also try negotiating with Alfard? That gives us 2 chances. With that tiny ray of hope, Itomi's face brightened some. We'll split into 2 groups, one for the lab and one for Shibuya Station, as Kanan said. Let's exchange phone numbers so we can be in touch when the time comes. The group quickly shared contact info as suggested. Hitomi and Kanan called one another's phones to be sure. Hitomi's cheerful ringtone felt out of place, but also somehow soothing, a fragment of normalcy in the midst of crisis. Well, guess we're all set then, Hitomi said, looking down at the LCD screen. Her expression turned apologetic. I'm sorry, Kanan, for having to keep putting things on you. Hey, Kanan replied. Don't worry about it. Okay, now I guess I should call my father. Hitomi called Kenji Osawa on his cell, asking him to let Maria and Kanan into the lab. Kano leaned in to whisper into Kanan's ear. Are you sure you're okay with this? With what? I know that you're after Alfard. Are you sure you want to go to the lab and not... Right now, I want to save Maria. That's all. Her tone was as curt and mechanical as ever, but there was a fierce gleam of determination in her eyes. Maria was clearly someone very special to her. All right, Kano replied. Leave Alfard to me. He thumped himself on the chest. He'd succeed this time, no matter what the odds. Leave Jiren to me, said Goku. Kano could scarcely recall the whirlwind of events that had brought him here. He'd somehow survived a dozen disasters. Even now, a dear friend was in the hospital, at risk of dying. There were times when he'd been ready to give up. And yet, at the end of it all, here he was. His opponent was an international terrorist. No matter how you looked at it, that wasn't a matchup for a mere detective. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Rumi, Shizuo, Sasayama, and Detective Tatano. I'm gonna take down Alfard and save Maria Osawa's life. Just you watch and see. That's incomprehensibly cool. To be continued. All right, let's finish Kenji Osawa's storyline, then we'll call it. We'll just get ourselves cleanly into the next hour. All right, Kenji Osawa. There we go. This is for you. Yeah, do it for Yanagashita. Do it for Yanagashita. Yep. Tanaka hadn't given Ai his password. Osawa's last chance had got up in smoke. He let out a long, shaky breath and shut his eyes tight. Was it true? Was there nothing more he could do? Osawa's cell phone rang. When he saw the name on the incoming call display, he nearly shouted out loud. It was Hitomi. Hitomi! Are you alright? Please tell me you're alright. Yeah, I'm fine. But Maria's... Maria? Is Maria there with you? Osawa's heart leapt. Dad, there isn't time for me to explain everything, so I'll just have to give you the main points. This is so we can save my sister, so just stay calm and listen. Osawa struggled to hold back the 1,000 questions that immediately came boiling into his mind. There's a girl named Kanan who's going to bring Maria to the lab. She's going to try to hack the password in order to get us inside. Wait, hold on. Just what in the world is going on? There are a bunch of people here working to help save Maria. Can you wait for us at the lab, Dad? I'm not sure that electronic lock is something that'll be so easy to... We've got another plan in motion, too. And if that goes well, we might be able to learn the password. It was all too much to follow, but Osawa realized he'd have to take Hitomi at her word. He was their only hope of saving Maria. All right, he said. I'll do as you ask. But you said you're trying 2 approaches. You're not going to be in danger, are you? No, I'll be fine. Don't worry about me. Okay. Very well. I'm heading to the laboratory now. You can't! You can't go! The moment Osawa hung up and started for the house, I clung to him from behind. If you use the antiviral now, she said, everything will go public. There's no way we can keep the virus or the antiviral under wraps at this point. Osawa tried to pull free, but his wife was stronger than he expected. Besides, if a Maria infects other people, the whole world is going to find out in a matter of hours. No, we can just quarantine her. If it's handled correctly, we'll still be able to retain secrecy. Ai's voice was cold as ice. Do you have any idea what you're saying right now? I do. I know how it sounds. But this is the only thing. The only thing I can... Her voice trailed off. He could feel the force of her trembling where she held him. Have I really put you into that much of a corner? Osawa slipped from Ai's arms and prostrated himself on the ground in front of her. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Oh, stop this! Get up! If you're really sorry, then don't go to that lab. But Osawa remained silent, his forehead pressed to the dirt. If you use that antiviral without corporate approval, your time with Okosi is finished. That doesn't matter to me anymore. How can you say that? Virology is the only thing you ever cared about. I began pummeling his back. Maybe virology is all that I care about. I don't know the first thing about anything else. I never wanted to know. Never even thought to find out. Never bothered to learn what you or my own children might think. I'm a failure. As a father. And as a husband. How dare you say that only after it's come to this? I struck him again, harder than before. You're right. He gasped out the words between her blows. Maybe this has been too long coming. But it's not too late. I can still start over. Start over? She paused in disbelief. You already turned down that American job. If you use that antiviral now, there won't be any starting over. You'll lose everything. Will I lose you too? After you've gone and thrown everything else away like this? How could I possibly stay with you? I was sobbing softly now. Osawa wondered what her tears were for. I might actually be the worst person in the world. On the bad guy tier list, is Alfard and I on the same? Or, yeah, seriously, Alfard isn't so bad. But there was one thing he did know. She was right. They couldn't be together anymore. He got to his feet and headed back into the house, leaving I behind. He hurried through the back entrance and went into the garage, climbed into his car, fastened his seatbelt, and took a deep breath. The image of a younger Maria arose in the back of his mind. There she was at that park, getting drenched by the rain, holding back her tears as she waited for her father. Wait for me, Maria. This time I'm going to come for you. I was wrong. Going through the lab wouldn't mean losing everything. He'd let too many important things slip through his fingers. Now it was time to go take them back. Osawa pulled his car out in the street and sped toward the laboratory. As if to signal that the long day was drawing to a close, the dazzling sun sank down between the buildings in the distance. End, yes, of his story. And wait, what happened to Minorikawa? Oh, we have to finish the Minorikawa endo jump, right? Okay, that's a bit anticlimactic. Let's see, that's not right. Tanaka, no, not that. It was something else. Is that okay? The remains of the individual discovered within the minivan. Okay. All protagonists have cleared this section. Choose a protagonist to continue their storyline in the next hour. Well, how do we do that? Just like Minorikawa on to 1800. Oh, so we gotta like, I see. All right, we'll see the little cutscene for the next chapter. Yeah, the traffic jam he's running through. Take a look with this traffic signal point. Yeah. I forgot he's got the printing guy with him. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Good bear, headlong rush. All right, we're gonna. And then she falls down the steps. Yeah. There we go. Nope. Yes, I know. We're trying to finish it, yes. Scurried over to her. Yeah. That's weird that that one choice kind of like threw some things out of whack. But that was weird, like having to say Endo, that was it. Minorikawa's story is so weird. It's just so weird compared to everyone else's. All right, to be continued. Now we get to see the cutscene. Here we go. I'm sorry, Suzune. The UA is out now. Mr. Mino, answer me. We meet at last, Alfard. You can go ahead and kill me. Hey. Okay. Kano, Achi, and Minorikawa. 18 to 20. This is the final chapter of the game, actually. But as you see, it's 18 to 20, so it's actually 2 hours, meaning this is quite a bit longer than the rest of the chapters. And we're going to start taking our big bite out of it on Saturday. So we will see you then. And for now, keep looking out for Alfard. All right. See ya.